Sienna Adams was a waitress at the Golden Dragon restaurant. This wasn't just any night, it was going to be the most important night of her life. But she didn't know that yet. When Jackie Chan walked through the doors, Sienna thought it was just another evening shift. She had no idea that something special was about to happen. She had no idea that this quiet Tuesday night would change everything. For most people, the Golden Dragon was just a regular Chinese restaurant in downtown Atlanta. But for Sienna, it was much more. At 32 years old, she worked long hours while also taking care of her twin daughters, Nova and Nora. Every dollar she earned helped pay rent for their small apartment and save for her daughter's future. Sienna looked at the clock on the wall. It was almost 8 p.m. This was usually the time when things started to slow down, giving her tired feet a little rest. She walked between tables, smiling at customers, even though she was exhausted. The regular customers knew a little about her life. They knew she was also studying to be a nurse while working full-time. They knew her husband had passed away. Some people left extra tips when they could, but Sienna never asked for help. She wanted to do things on her own even when it was hard. The doorbell chimed and Sienna looked up while refilling water glasses. She froze. A man in a simple black jacket walked in. He moved so smoothly like he was floating. He looked so calm like nothing could ever bother him. It took Sienna a second to realize who he was. But then he smiled at the hostess and she knew. Jackie Chan, Jackie Chan. Her mind filled with memories. She thought about all those Sundays spent watching his movies with her daughters. Nova and Nora would laugh at his funny moves and for a little while they could forget about their troubles. But she couldn't think about that now, she had a job to do. The hostess led Jackie Chan to a quiet table in Sienna's section. She took a deep breath, grabbed her notepad and walked over. As she got closer, she noticed little details. His warm eyes. The gray in his hair. The way he sat up straight but still looked so relaxed. "Good evening," she said, happy that her voice didn't shake. "Welcome to Golden Dragon. Can I get you something to drink?" He looked up at her, smiling. His smile reached his eyes, making them sparkle. "Just green tea, please. It's been a long day." Sienna nodded. "Of course. I'll bring that right out. Would you like to see the menu?" He shook his head. "No need. I trust the chef. I'll have whatever they recommend." Sienna turned to leave, but then she heard his voice again. "Busy night?" She stopped, surprised. Most famous people didn't like to talk much. "It was really busy earlier," she said. "But now it's slowing down." He nodded. "You handle it well. You move so smoothly like a dance." Sienna felt her face get warm. Was Jackie Chan really giving her a compliment? "Thank you," she said. "I've had a lot of practice." She hurried to the kitchen, her mind spinning. When she returned with his tea, she saw Jackie looking at a family photo on the wall. The picture showed the restaurant's owners through 3 generations. He pointed at it. "Family is everything, isn't it?" he said. His voice was soft, kind. Sienna set his tea down carefully. His words touched her heart. "Yes, it is," she said, thinking of Nova and Nora. Jackie looked up at her. "Do you have a family?" he asked as he blew on his tea. It didn't feel like small talk. It felt like he really wanted to know. "I have twin girls," Sienna said, feeling a little less tired as she talked about them. "They actually love your movies. Rush Hour is their favorite." Jackie laughed, his eyes crinkling at the corners. 8 years old is a wonderful age," he said. "Everything still feels magical." He paused, looking at her closely. "But raising twins alone, that must be hard." Sienna blinked in surprise. How did he know she was a single mom? But before she could answer, the kitchen bell rang. His food was ready. As she served his meal, she noticed something special about him. He thanked the busboy who filled his water. He smiled at the young dishwasher who peeked out from the kitchen. He wasn't acting like a big star. He was just kind. And it seemed like his kindness touched everyone around him. Jackie ate slowly, enjoying every bite. Sometimes he glanced around the restaurant as if he was soaking it all in. Every now and then, his eyes met Sienna's and he nodded gently. It made her feel seen. Like he understood something about her that she didn't even understand herself. When she brought his check, Jackie looked at her with an unreadable expression. "You know," he said softly, "I started with nothing. Many people helped me when I needed it. Small kindnesses that changed my life." He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. He placed it on the table next to his check. "Please read this later," he said. "When your shift is over." Sienna's heart started beating faster. But she kept her professional smile. "Thank you for dining with us," she said. "It was an honor to serve you." Jackie stood, adjusting his jacket. "The honor was mine," he said. "Keep inspiring your daughters." They are watching everything you do. Then he walked out the door. Sienna stared at the envelope. What could be inside? But she still had work to do. There were dishes to clear, tables to clean, and 2 more hours left in her shift. Whatever was in the envelope would have to wait. Finally, at 10 p.m., her shift was over. Sienna sat in the break room, her hands shaking slightly as she held the envelope. The restaurant was quiet now. Only the soft hum of the dishwasher and the distant sounds of traffic outside. She took a deep breath and carefully opened it. Inside was a letter. She unfolded it and began to read. When I was young and struggling, someone believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. Tonight, I saw that same strength in you. The way you work hard even when you're tired. The way you talk about your daughters with pride. The way you keep going no matter how tough life gets. You remind me of my mother. She worked 3 jobs so I could chase my dreams. She taught me that real strength isn't about fighting. It's about waking up every morning and choosing hope. Sienna's hands were shaking as she opened the envelope. Inside she found a check. Her heart pounded as she looked at the amount, $220,000. Her eyes filled with tears as she read the letter that came with it. It said, "Use this money for your nursing school for your daughters, or for any dreams you had to stop chasing. But there's more. I have a friend who gives scholarships to single parents in healthcare. I told him about you, and there is a full scholarship waiting for you if you want it. Your daughters need to see that dreams don't have an ending date. Sometimes, we all need someone to believe in us until we learn to believe in ourselves. Keep going. Your daughters are watching, and you are teaching them the most important lesson, that with bravery and hard work, anything is possible." At the bottom it was signed, Jackie Chan. P.S. Here's my personal email. Let me know when you graduate. I'd love to be there. Sienna's hands trembled as she pulled out the check again. $220,000 and a full scholarship. It didn't feel real. She thought about all the long nights when she stayed up studying after her daughters had gone to bed. She remembered all the times she had wanted to quit when life felt too hard. She had prayed for a little help, just a small sign that she was on the right path. And now here it was, a miracle inside an envelope given to her by someone who truly saw her. Tears streamed down her face as she grabbed her phone and called her sister. "Lena, you need to come over," she said, her voice shaky. "You won't believe what just happened." An hour later, Sienna and Lena sat at the kitchen table. The letter and check lay in front of them. Lena read the letter again for the 3rd time. "Sienna," Lena whispered, her own eyes full of tears. "Do you know what this means? You can finish school. You can really do this." Sienna looked at the letter again, reading Jackie's words over and over. "I know," she whispered. "But Lena, it's not just the money. It's like he understood everything without me even saying a word." That night, after Lena left, Sienna quietly walked into her daughter's room. Nova and Nora were sound asleep. She looked at their peaceful faces, then at their favorite Rush Hour movie poster hanging between their beds. This gift wouldn't just change her life, it would change their lives too. The next morning, as Sienna was making breakfast, she overheard her daughters whispering. "Mom looks different," Nova said softly. "Like she's glowing or something." Nora nodded. "Maybe she's just happy." And they were right. For the first time in years, Sienna felt light. She felt hopeful. Weeks turned into months. Sienna's life completely changed. She worked fewer hours at the restaurant. She focused on her nursing classes. Her grades soared. The scholarship paid for everything. And Jackie's money helped her spend more time with Nova and Nora. For the first time in years, she could breathe. One night, 6 months later, Sienna was helping her daughters with homework. Nova suddenly looked up and asked, "Mom, remember when you said sometimes angels come in disguise?" Sienna smiled. "Yes, baby." "Why?" Nova thought for a moment. "Was Mr. Chan an angel?" Sienna pulled her daughter close and whispered, "He wasn't an angel, sweetheart. He was just someone who remembered what it's like to need help, and chose to pass that kindness on." Sienna stood in her graduation gown, holding her nursing degree in her hands. In the audience, Nova and Nora cheered loudly, their little faces full of pride. Lena stood beside them, recording everything on her phone. And in the back row, Jackie Chan sat, smiling. After the ceremony, he walked up to her. "I knew you could do it," he said with a warm smile. "Your daughters must be so proud." Sienna hugged him, her eyes filling with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "Not just for the help, but for seeing me that night. For believing in me." Jackie shook his head gently. "I only showed you what was already there," he said. "The strength was always yours." That night, as Sienna tucked Nova and Nora into bed, Nora asked sleepily, "Mom, can we help someone too? Like Mr. Chan helped us?" Sienna kissed her daughter's forehead. "We already are, baby," she said softly. "Every time I help a patient at the hospital, every time we share what we have with others, we're passing on his kindness." And so, Sienna's story didn't end there. She didn't just become a nurse. She became someone who truly understood how one act of kindness can change everything. Now, when new patients come to her hospital floor, Sienna greets them with the same warmth and kindness she received that night. Because she learned something important from Jackie Chan. Sometimes all it takes is one person believing in you to change everything. And every year, on the same night Jackie changed her life, Sienna and her daughters go back to the Golden Dragon restaurant. They sit at the same corner table. And they remember how one act of kindness can spread and touch so many lives. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories filled with adventure, mystery, and excitement. Your support means the world and it helps keep these stories coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.